Alright, Hollyoaks fans, it's time for some disappointing news. It has been a long time between drinks since I have done a Hollyoaks weekly roundup. I've been having a bit of a break and I've been chilling, so this isn't a Hollyoaks weekly roundup. This is some fairly unfortunate news. This being news that... this overlay's busted, Jesus Christ. This being some Hollyoaks news that unfortunately Ethan Williams... Ethan Williams? Yeah, Ethan Williams will be leaving the show after just about 3 years. It was a guy who has been pretty vocal and saying, I would love to be kept on the show. But the main problem is, look, we're going down to 3 hours and we're skipping past a year. It is, do you fit into our plans or can we afford to keep you? And the answer is you probably just can't really afford to keep you in our plans. It sucks. It sucks. Ethan's probably one of the best newcomers in soap of the last couple years, in my opinion. And I think it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of blows, really. Like, it does suck. Because he was a very versatile character. He had a pairing that we all loved in Sienna and Ethan, and in general, he generally added a lot of joy and a lot of light to any situation. You need some humour, get Ethan out there. But I suppose that generally is a bit of the problem. Like, Ethan was shelved to do the Brave storyline, and it did kind of suck about that. And you know, unfortunately, his fairly long-ish term relationship with Sienna had to get axed for what, admittedly, is a quite enjoyable story, and I did particularly enjoy it. But ultimately, if you fall out of favour with the writers and you don't really want to be kept on to do much the same, unfortunately, it is only going to go one way. Ethan has been here for roughly 3 years now, being introduced with Maya, who is his, like, criminal girlfriend. He ended up shooting Maya, and he ended up, like, keeping Darren hostage or whatever. He was just fucking with Darren for a long time. And then eventually getting involved with Sienna and Steve, where he was forcing them to do Norma's, like, dirty work, and they had to bury a body, and it's a winding circle. And I think it is the suffering from success, I guess. He never really had the largest of storylines. He was never really a main character, and it did feel like he needs to be grounded by someone or established with a bigger part of the show, like a Sienna, for example. But for the last year or so, however long, well, I say year, for the last like 6 months or so, he has been saddled with nothing. So it does hurt, and it does suck, and I fully understand why everybody is upset. I think everybody will be quite upset about this. And everybody, yeah, just, I thought he was safe, not Ethan, why? I thought he was safe. Nah. And I get it. I really do. But I still believe that there's probably some even, like, sadder, like, casting. Like, I don't think James Nightingale is staying. I know he's got a very devout following with all of the Stames fans. I don't think that... I think Perry's probably at risk, honestly. I could easily imagine Leela going. Norma's gone, Warren's gone, Cindy's gone, Scott is gone. I could easily see Misbah, and I think Misbah and Donnie stay as a couple. But like, there's a lot of characters who I do think have a pretty rough time. The only, like, the ones I don't see having much of the ones I do see staying is obviously Sienna and Steve. I think they are key to this next iteration of Hollyoaks. Darren, Nancy, that family, you could probably keep Frankie and dump Suzanne and JJ. I think that Pearl and Zoe, maybe, but there's obviously room for her to leave. Tony is obviously staying, and so is Diane. Cindy's gone. Like, and I think people will get upset because you are taking some of the more favourite characters away from the fans. And it is definitely a gut punch, and it's definitely very raw. But yeah, I think that's where I stand. It does suck, and it is really awful. And shut up about the fucking facial hair, right? It's terrible. It's been on a break, alright? Leave me alone. This is probably my saddest one so far. Like, Warren's okay. I don't really care for Warren that much. Cindy, it sucks, but Cindy's there to be there, and I get it. Ethan's probably one of my more favorite characters of the last couple of years, and it is quite devastating, but I'm not too upset by it ultimately. Like I said, I braced myself for impact in a sense. I've stood like feet apart in like a triangle, just like, okay, we are gonna see some casualties. I suppose the one thing that has been said, Ethan isn't being killed off, which I probably should have addressed earlier, but he isn't being killed off, which is integral, because obviously that means in the future, he's probably going to leave on good terms. If the show is successful again, he can easily be brought back. I at least believe that's what they were saying. I think so. Or at least someone said, at least, I don't know if they exactly, I swear I read this somewhere. Yeah, according to Metro, Matthew James Bailey will depart the role of Ethan Williams after 3 years, but the character won't be killed off. Yeah, like, I think Dave goes. Like, there's just a lot of characters who I think are gone. And I respect it. But yeah, I think my point was I've been braced for impact. I've kind of been ready for this to just be gone. And it could be worse, in my opinion. So I think I've said this about 10 times, but like I said, prepare yourselves, as it's probably going to get worse. Oh yeah, I also see most of the McQueen stay. See, at least I could see Sally going, unfortunately, but I still think Mercedes, Teresa, Cleo, Goldie, I think they're staying. Some of the extra McQueens. I think John Paul stays as well. John Paul's proven to be a very like a pillar of. I don't think John Paul's anybody's favorite character, but he still does a lot of really good stuff. I'd love to see Sally kept, but if you were gonna get rid of any characters, you probably could get rid of Sally. One thing I think is gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how many characters are getting like killed, rather. Like, how many people will die? We've seen Prince die, we've seen Zoe, we've seen Lizzie die. Like, we've seen a bunch of characters get offed. And it'll be about the discrepancy. Do you kill off some of these, like, more favourite cast members and eventually not be able to do it over? Because it's like Neighbours. Neighbours killed off Mackenzie's boyfriend. Who the fuck was he called? He was played by the attractive lad, who Chloe Brennan. Who'd she marry? Who the God damn it. Well, essentially, Neighbours killed off one of the really big characters in the final scenes. Oh, Hendrix, there we are. They killed off Hendrix, and it was pretty fucking miserable because, okay, Hendrix has now died, and now Mackenzie's alone. Oh, Neighbours is being brought back. Well, we can't bring Hendrix back, can we? Because he did die on the show. It's a risk you run into repeating if you do kill off established characters. Like, you can't kill off a Warren. You can't kill off Ethan. You can't. Well, Ethan's not really on the same level, let's be honest. But point being, some of these, like, you can't kill off Cindy, for example. Killing off Scott would be short-sighted. And I think that's going to be a balance that Hollyoaks now needs to find. You now need to find a good way to see a lot of people just leave while making sure that shit doesn't go down. Like, making sure you don't cut off a lot of the viewership. But I still think most people are just fans of the show and not just fans of characters, but I could be wrong. I just love the show as a whole. I don't love all the characters, but I do love the show, so I will continue to watch everything they do. But yeah, there we are. I personally, I think that the writers have done an interesting job so far. I like some of the characters. I like some of the newer additions. I like Hannah, even though she's leaving. I haven't seen much of Rex, is it? The guy played by Johnny Labey? The guy who played Paul Coker. He seems interesting, but a dickhead. But I think that given the... Basically, they've been given some dry pasta and they're told to make bolognese, and it's like, well, fucking, can I get some mince? Nah. Can I get some pasta sauce? Nah. You can have 2 tomatoes. Like, what? Yeah, and if you don't get the bolognese right, you're fired. It's like, fucking hell. So I've got fucking get in the kitchen, fucking salt and pepper this bitch into a fucking bolognese. Like, I think there's only so much they can do. They're running out of time. They've been given this amount of rope, and this rope isn't fucking continuing. You need to make this work with less resources, less cast, and just less people involved, and shut the fuck up and deal with it. And I think that they've been doing a good job. I don't think the show's been as good as it was in the When Worlds Collide week. I think that was a massive peak of interest, but ultimately a soap can't be good all year round. It's always a struggle. You got to balance out the good with the bad. You got to build to the new storylines and keep the other ones going. So I genuinely believe that the producers have been doing a pretty good job with the show, and I will always back it. But also a part of it may be, fuck, it's over soon, you know? Like, it's always a bit of a scary one, but I will back Hollyoaks till the end, or till pastures new. I just really think they have the job cut out for them, right? It's such a hard thing to be able to manage. It's really hard to do successfully, and I just hope that we as a community pull together to back the show that's already getting its legs swiped out beneath it. It's like them going into 2024 like, oh, this is fine, Hollyoaks is fine, Channel 4's fine. And it's like when you do the thing where you put someone's bag over their head and then it like fucking rolls forward and sweeps out the legs. It's like, all right, I've got all this stuff, I've got all my materials in my bag, everything's good to go, and over the head, and it takes your legs out, and it's like, oh, I've broken all the shit in my bag now, Sam. Like, yeah, we're also taking the bag away. It's a hard thing to do. But I think I've rambled on enough. I'm still not full of beans. The week off has been good, but I'm still a bit sleepy and I got stuff to do. So videos will be resuming as normal on the Monday, and we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you for watching. What do you think about Ethan Williams leaving Hollyoaks after 3-ish years? It is a massive shame, and I will miss his presence, but also he wasn't exactly a main character of the show, and that's why it hurts a little bit less, because he wasn't being given the most stuff to work with. He wasn't being given these big storylines. It was always his involvement in someone else's who's a larger character than his storyline. So I understand why. It's still sad, but I respect it nonetheless. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and comment for more things Watching Walford. Thank you for the watching video. Join me in the next one. See you then. Bye-bye.